behind those who are harvesting them. My generation cannot relate to that kind of sacrifice for America's future. All we have to do to put our budget in line is go back to fiscal year 1999-2000 outlays with today's revenues, and we have a balanced budget and can begin paying down the national debt. It's sacrifice we can make.
Well, we need leaders that are willing to tell the American people the truth. And the truth is, we haven't got the money to continue to do this, and we're becoming a slave to China and India. And the truth is, we just can't do it. And when leaders are willing to say the truth, instead of pander to you or to anyone else, then we will make a change. My plan, again, 10-3 Lean, is a reasonable way to accomplish that goal. It is across the board. It touches everyone. It doesn't touch one group of people and not touch another. Everybody must sacrifice for this country, period. 10% across the board in all cuts and taxes. We will get our engine going again, and we will solve these problems. We can do it. We're Americans.
We should heed the wise words of President Calvin Coolidge, who said, "Governments must not assume the inevitable burdens of existence for the people." He understood that government didn't have the ability to provide for the basic needs of people. He knew that. That's not a secret. Deep down, we all know it. We have to take care of ourselves and our families. We need to phase out the entitlement programs gradually because people have become to depend on them and paid into them. Gradually phase them out, cut spending to balance the budget, get in the black, use the surplus to pay the debt. We have to cut taxes to stimulate the economy and increase tax revenue. But above all, we have to strengthen the family and the values of self-reliance and hard work, and we take care of our own parents, our own children, our own brothers and sisters, and our own neighbors. That's our job, not the government's.
We will never pay off our debt with the entitlement programs we have now. And I agree with a lot of my colleagues up here that we do need to be willing to make the personal sacrifices, each and every one of us, and not have this me attitude, and be willing to maybe pay a copay on something once in a while, and instead of just expect it for free. Take some personal responsibility for not only you but your neighbor, so we can all survive in the long run.
I think the thing I want to point out is that, you know, when this country was founded, it succeeded on freedom and the availability of land, and that was opportunity. And not long after that, it was freedom and a hard work ethic and an industrialization that really brought this country out as the #1 country in the world. Following that, it's been innovation. And we've been a strong, innovating country. But I just want to point out that looking forward with the debt that we have, innovation may be our last resort. And with the educational system that we have, we are at a huge disadvantage in the future. In the global economy, our youth are going to have a hard time competing. And I hope that we can find a way to discern what are those innovations that make sense for this country and which ones are a waste of our money.
Well, entitlements. I just had my first grandchild 10 days ago, Paisley Jade. When she took her first breath, she's $41,000 in debt to our federal debt. If you add in the bankrupt entitlements of Social Security and Medicare, Medicaid, she's over $300,000 in debt. This is criminal. This is why I'm in this race. We're going to have to be bold and aggressive. I know Social Security is not going to be there for me, but I've got to continue to pay into it to take care of those people that are counting on it. But in 25 or some odd years, we're going to have to get rid of it. It's going to have to be just something that we just get rid of. Therefore, I know as a person here, I've got to start taking care of myself. I got to pay into Social Security, and I got to put some away for myself. Again, this country was founded on rugged individualism, self-reliance, and personal responsibility.
Now for 60 seconds, and the first speaker will be Craig Williams. Do you think the United States government is working toward and or helping to establish a governmental dependency mentality among the citizens of the United States?
But I thought these questions were supposed to be hard. No, we have created, by telling people that we can do more for you than you can do for yourself, we've created what I call the zoo mentality. We're telling the animals in the zoo that you're much happier here than you'd be in the wild because we're taking care of you. And it's simply not true. Freedom is what separated America from all the countries of the world. It's what made it great. And freedom will continue to be the basis of America's greatness. And if we don't stay free and we don't make good choices and we don't preserve liberty, we're going to talk about America as being great in the past tense. America was great. We need to prevent that by our own very actions, and standing up for liberty and freedom is how we do it.
You know, great leaders know how to solve problems. And people that solve problems ask why an awful lot and get to the root of the issue. And the issue is why do we have a dependent society? Because we have leaders who want to entrap people so they have a voting block. So the more we make people entitled, the more they're indebted to us, and they're going to continue to vote for us. So what's the solution? We need leaders who believe in people. This is the way that I have conducted my life and the way I run my business. I believe in the genius of the American people. People bring me ideas all day long. We pay them a 5% royalty and we market and sell their products all over the world. We don't make them dependent on us. We believe in the genius and the capacity of the American people. This is what the problem is. When we elect leaders that believe in people and don't want to make them dependent and slaves to us, things will change. Look for authentic leadership.
This really is about leadership, and it goes right to the top. We have a federal government, including a president, a vice president, our own Senator Murray, Senator Cantwell, and many other senators and representatives in the U.S. House, who themselves practice dependency. They can't balance their own budget to save their life or save their country. They're dependent on printing money and borrowing money from countries like China and Japan. This is shameful. We were redressed by the Chinese for this shameful lack of discipline. We should be humiliated publicly and embarrassed as a nation. We demand better, we expect better, and we will get better because I'm going to replace Patty Murray. And when I do, we're going to run a balanced budget, or I'm going to be screaming. You deserve it. You do not deserve perpetual debt, neither do your children or your grandchildren. Let's run in the black, let's live within our means and be the responsible, hardworking American people that we really are.
I do believe our government is trying to control us, and I believe it's because they think they know what's best for us. And this is based in power, greed, and control. And we got to take that away from them. They are no better than you or I, and we can't let them take our lives, our children's lives, and the future lives of all, just for the mere sake of control.
I have it on good authority, actually, that Patty Murray can't even balance her own checkbook. And that's the truth. I've heard that from someone who knows. It's absolutely true that the liberal Democrats have controlled people by getting them dependent upon the government. And it's really insidious when you think about it. But it's just part of basically a movement towards a socialized society. Get everybody involved and connected to the government. Well, what happens when everybody's working for the government or everybody's trying to depend on it? Obviously, as the curve shows, it can't happen.